Welcome back. Well, today it's cold and it's windy. I see dark clouds in the distance. But I guess we're going to do this. You don't get too many options this time of year. I've got this new gun to present to you. It's a Smith & Wesson Equalizer. And let's talk a little bit about the gun before we shoot it. It looks very much like many guns on the market right now, but internally it's not, and there are some significant differences that I'll talk about. This Smith & Wesson Equalizer has got a 3.6 something or other length barrel. This one happens to have, they make two options, one with and one without the safety. I opt for the safety. You can use it, or you can elect to use it or not use it. But I like to have that option. It's got a slide release, and it looks a lot like a striker-fired pistol, but it's not. This gun, as a matter of fact, has got an internal hammer. In other words, a swinging hammer that strikes a firing pin. That makes its shooting, the qualities that lend to its shooting are a little bit different because of that, and I'll talk about that too. You'll notice that it has very, very large serrations for cocking. I mean, and not only does it have large serrations, but owing to its design, it incorporates the easy design, which means that it's very, very handy to slide back for people who have, arthritic hands or some way or another, have difficulty cocking many semi-automatic pistols. So that's one of its principal differences. It has a stainless steel. It's got a stainless steel slide, and all the parts are stainless steel, excepting for the lower frame, which is a polymer. It's a polymer frame, much like many of the firearms on the market. It's got a three-dot sight, which is very familiar. They stand rather high, which makes it nice if you need to cock this gun one-handed. You can put that against your clothing or against your belt or table or whatever, and you can get that slide back very nicely because you can leverage against that rear sight. It also has the removable plate here, so that you can put a optical sight mount and put a red dot or a green dot sight on this, whichever you'd like to have. And this gun has a grip safety. Very familiar to somebody like me who's been around model 1911s, really since, we're talking since about 1968, 1969 is when I began using the 1911. That's a while ago. So, now I've watched a few videos relating to this particular gun, and there seems to be a script that they all follow. They all start out with, well, I kind of like it, but it's a beginner's gun. I don't like the grip safety. That's kind of nice for beginners, but well, some of these guys, they must be nigh on to 23 years old now. They got some pretty broad experience with guns, So, they say this is only for beginners. Yeah, you better listen to them. Hey, by golly. Oh man, this is not a beginner's gun. There's no such thing as a beginner's gun unless you're talking about like a single shot rifle or something like this. This is very much a manly, womanly. This is a real dadgummit gun. Don't let some young whippersnapper tell you or try to convince you that this is some way or another a beginner's gun. Good grief. A grip safety has absolutely nothing to do whatsoever with the way the gun shoots, the way the gun handles or anything else. It's what it is. It's a grip safety. When your hand's on the grip, the gun will go off. When your hand's not on the grip, you can't accidentally pull the trigger and have it go off. And I'll talk about that when I take it down. It functions for what it's intended for, so that the gun simply, if you should snag it on your clothing or whatever like that, it simply will not go off. You have to have your hand wrapped around the grip. If you find something wrong with that, or if you think that that's a beginner issue, I don't know. That's as much as I'll say about that. It's not a beginner's gun, trust me. The safety is not a beginner's option. That's an intelligent option. For somebody who doesn't want a safety, God bless them. But, a safety is as easy to throw off as that. By the time you get it out of you, it's down. Anybody who can operate, if you got a thumb to wrap around the gun, you got a thumb that can push the safety up and down. It's very, very easy to do. Has nothing to do with, a person's skill, their competence, or anything like that. And please don't let anybody sway you and make you think you're a sissy because you want to have a safety on a gun. One of the things I happen to know, having been around, law enforcement much of my life, I spent many years instructing police officers, and during those years I spent a lot of it studying case histories of officer shootings. Many officers, a great majority of officers, were shot with their own handguns through the years. In a scuffle, the gun got loose, and they were shot with their own handgun, unfortunately. One of the things that saved a lot of people in those situations, in what would have been a disaster, was the fact that the bad guy didn't know about how to release a safety. They picked up the gun from the street where it lay, they picked it up and they tried to shoot the officer while the officer managed to survive in one way or another, because the safety wasn't off. The officer knew how to engage it, but the bad guy didn't. So that works just as well for the average person who's carrying it on the street. You can get pretty hung up if you think sometimes that the ads are pretty well choreographed. It shows somebody stepping back and drawing and firing, and they get the bad guy. It doesn't go off necessarily that swiftly and that easily. Sometimes there's some problems that arise. Anybody who's been on the street long enough knows that can happen. So don't let anybody ever tell you that a safety is not something that you should investigate. A safety is that's the first thing I would recommend. And if you find reason to believe that it's not for you, that's fine. I'll pray for you. But I think a safety is a very, very nice option to have. This is not a beginner's gun. I'll repeat that over and over again. It is not a beginner's gun. This is a real adult working firearm, caliber 9mm. This is a deadly weapon. Enough said on that. Well, due to the intense cold, it really is starting to get cold to be handling guns outside. But due to the weather conditions, I'm going to forego talking about the gun in detail until I get back to the ranch, get back to the bench, and I'll show you in depth exactly how this gun takes down. And but I can show you, for instance, some of the things it comes with. It comes with this is a 15-round stacked magazine. There's a 13-rounder. I kind of like that for general purposes, overall use. It carries nicely. It doesn't bulge much on the under a jacket, and it also has a 10-round magazine. Now the 10-round magazine, it's even marked as a 10-round magazine. You're not going to get 10 rounds in this because many states that have 10-round limitations, it means 10-round capacity. So I presume that possibly you could modify the spring on this magazine to make it a real 10-rounder, but it will give the gun a 10-shot capacity. And as you can see, it's a very, very abbreviated grip. This would give me, a curled pinky underneath, which I don't mind in the least. I've got big hands. The trigger guard bow is undercut a little bit, so it gives me a little bit better purchase than it does with some guns that have just a short magazine. But I mean, I can handle that very nicely. But the 13 round capacity is, I think that's my favorite. It gives me a full 3-finger curl, and it also, as I say, it only adds another ½ inch to the length and makes it very handy to carry. The 15 round magazine, if you got bulky clothes on or something like that, 15 rounds, that'll give you also 16 round capacity in your gun. So let's start, and it comes with this Uplula loader. I'll show you that when we get back to the house. I'm just going to load it up. I've got some ammunition here, some Scorpio 9mm. I think this is 115 grain. Let me just take a close look here. Sure, these are 115 grain. So, in fact, I think these also these are also 115 grain PMC. So we're going to try them both out, see how they do on target, and I'm going to take advantage of. I wish I had known about. I mean, these Uplulas have been around for a long time, but I never took advantage of them and tried them out to see how they work. Really, really nice. So I'm gonna feed up this. I'm going to feed up this 15 rounder today with this cold weather. That'll give me a little bit of an advantage to keep my hands firm around the gun. And this is really nice. If I didn't have this, loading device right now, I'd be in trouble, because I don't think I'd be able to get my cold hands around that metal case. I'd be having difficulties. Well, I'm gonna just load up 10 rounds and see how. And this loads. I could do a video on just this Uplula loading device. Really nice. And as I say, for anybody who's been around guns, these have been around for quite a long time, and I just never took advantage of them. It's something I never checked out, and I'm glad I did now. So let's get my hearing protection on and my eyeglasses. What a day! It's the sun is descending right now. It's coming on to 4 o'clock, and we're just a few days from opening deer season here in New Hampshire. For the muzzle loading season has been going on, and archery season, but we're going to be opening up with the firearms season very shortly. So let's clear the deck here, and we're shooting at 25 yards. So make sure that everything is all set to go. I think I'm going to wear my other glasses so I can see better. With the light dimming in the afternoon on the target, I need all the advantage I can get, so I'm using my regular glasses so I can get a better sight picture. Much clearer. The gun handles very nicely. Of course, I'm shooting it over a rest right now, but even though I'm shooting it over a rest, I can tell the gun handles very nicely, so I'll try it with the PMC ammo. And can I see what those are doing? Well, that Scorpion ammo is printing about 6 inches to the left, and quite a large group. I've got a oh, it's at least a 6 or 7 inch long, 6 or 7 inch group at 25 yards, which I would not call by any means satisfactory. So I'm sure it's an ammo issue. We'll continue on with the PMC and see how that does. Normally I shoot 9mm hand loads of my own that I've worked up, but I wanted to see how I wanted to demonstrate how it does with commercial ammo, because that's how a great majority of people, my viewers, are going to be seeing it. And speaking of that, I just passed 200,000 subscribers. I'm very, very happy about that, and I'm gonna congratulate myself. I think it was it's been a good run. I've enjoyed doing this and bringing you these videos for the last, I guess it's been 12 years or more. So it's been very enjoyable. But thanks to all of you for subscribing. I owe it to you, because I couldn't do that without your help. So thank you. Let's see. We're going to try the PMC bronze. I hope these are going to be a little bit better. I really do, because that was lousy, as they say. I know it's not the gun. We'll have a go with these and just see what these do. Well, I can say one thing. The Scorpion felt a little bit unlike, let's see if they're plus P. They felt a little bit sharp. They're made in these are made in the Czech Republic. It does not say that they're plus P, but they had a distinctly sharp recoil. So we'll continue on with the PMC bronze. And by the way, this rear sight is adjustable, windage-wise, not elevation, but windage-wise. And the elevation seemed to be fine. Nice trigger. I really like this trigger. And we'll talk about that when we get back there too. And the reason why. This is a beautiful trigger. That's it. 10 rounds of each. Go down and check that target out, and hopefully that'll do a little bit better, a lot better. Well, I had this stapled on to resist a small gale. So I'm much more pleased with this. I wasn't pleased at all with all these rounds out here are all that Scorpion. I think maybe one hit the black, but so I couldn't recommend that Scorpion ammo. This PMC bronze worked really nicely. I'm very satisfied with that. I think with some load development, that gun certainly would be capable of striking the 10 all the time. That's been my experience. If you can get bullseye accuracy out of commercial ammo, you can generally expect to do much better with a well-developed hand load. So, the sun's going to be setting in the west very shortly, so I'm going to clean this thing up, clean up the range, and pick up my brass, and I'll meet you back at the back at the workbench. Cold, terrible. Winter's coming. So after I packed up and the camera was tucked away and everything, I felt a little bit warmer finally. My hands had warmed up. So I stuffed a bunch of cartridges into the 13-round magazine. I had some fun. I wish I still had the camera running to show you, but I was shooting at 50-yard steel plates, 6 and 9-inch plates, and this was a dandy gun. It was popping them with effortlessly. I really enjoyed shooting it. It just had that perfect rake. It comes up naturally. I mean, you really don't have to worry about acquiring sights when a gun comes up naturally. That's whether it's a rifle or a shotgun or a pistol. It doesn't make any difference. You know, natural point of aim is always what it's about. And that's what this gun has for me. I like the way the grip feels in my hand. Everything about it is just nice. It has a good reach to the trigger for me. I can get a good single action trigger squeeze on that. With the center of my fingers. It's got a nice bow to the trigger. It comes all the way down to the trigger guard. Everything about it is nice. I enjoyed it. But I got home last night and my bride had dinner on the table waiting for me, and Murphy wanted to relax with me afterwards, and so that's very unusual. You know, usually he's a firecracker. He always wants to do something. So he's not like Benny. I just can't sit in the chair out by the barn and have him sit beside me. You know, he's got to be standing there, you know, poking a ball in my lap or a stick or something. He wants me to constantly play with him. So he's an energetic pup, very, very birdy. He watches planes go overhead. I mean, it's unbelievable. 20,000 feet, he'll see a jet flying overhead, and he's watching it. And he watches the flocks of geese that are going out of town now with the migration. So it's fun to watch him. I haven't been out bird hunting yet because I'm still under repair. I mean, I'm getting around pretty good with that knee, but it's you know, to amble around the woods, you know, where it can sometimes be a little bit difficult in the footing and everything. I'm taking a pass on that for the time being. Maybe I'll get out before the end of the season. So, before we say any more, let's step over the bench and check this gun out in detail. The Smith & Wesson Equalizer, 9mm. I love this. Has the old traditional 9mm Luger. Well, it's a 9 by 19. That's the technical definition of the cartridge size, but 9mm Luger was its original name. Si vis pacem, parabellum. If you wish peace, prepare for war. The cartridge goes back, I think, to 1890 or 1898 or something. It's way back with the Luger pistol, invented by George Luger. So anyway, what we've got here is a gun that came packaged with 3 magazines. You got a 13-round magazine, which is really handy to, I think that's probably the good all-purpose, all-around magazine. It carries nicely, has very little prominence underneath clothing. They pop out nice and freely too, but this magazine release button is very positive, and it's very well guarded. You're not going to push that by accident and pop the magazine accidentally. It requires a deliberate push of that button with your thumb in order to free it. But once you do, it's gone. Now, it's also reversible. You can turn that around. Just simply remove that, loosen that screw, turn it. I think it's 90 degrees, and that mechanism will turn around for a southpaw. It's got ambidextrous safety, and the ambidextrous safety works very, very nicely. It's got positive stops. It's not mushy. It clicks right down easily with your thumb, and both sides ambidextrous, and very, very nice. I like that. And again, you know, as I mentioned at the range, having a safety does not mean you're an amateur or a beginner or, you know, in some ways a substandard shooter or anything like that. Don't fall for that nonsense. Safeties have saved a lot of lives, you know, and I know that Gaston Glock's advertising, you know, the proliferation of his advertising is that the gun won't fire unless your finger's in the trigger. I know that, you know. I was an instructor with firearms back in the early 70s, and I know all about that. And trust me, I've seen enough injuries and dead bodies to know that sometimes things don't happen exactly according to Hoyle. So having a safety is not a bad thing. And as I said too, in a scuffle, guns can come away from a person who owns the gun. It can come away from the person who has it for his own defense, and all of a sudden it's in the hands of the bad guy. These things happen. I happen to know of an incident where a very, very robust weightlifting police officer, retired police officer, got into a scuffle with a couple of guys, and they got his gun away, and they were threatening to kill him. And fortunately, you know, God must have intervened because they didn't shoot him, they fled. But, you know, he could have died easily. They got that gun away from him. But there were times, and he was a big guy. I mean, this is a guy that could usually take on three people at one time. But, you know, in bad situations, bad guys can sometimes get the best of you. So it's good to have a safety. It's always good. If somebody grabs that gun and tries to shoot you, nothing's going to happen. The way that safety works, by the way, and before we move into that, it also comes with this 15-round magazine and this 10-round magazine, which I'll call, ostensibly, it's a 10-round capacity. It's not a 10-round magazine, even though it says it's got a 10-round hole here. I presume that the magazine could probably be, the magazine spring possibly can be altered to take that 10th round. But for states that require, for localities that require nothing more than a 10-round capacity in a firearm, that would satisfy that requirement. So some of the features of the gun is it got this undercut on the trigger guard, which gives you it gives you another quarter of an inch of grasp. So when you're using the 10-round magazine, even though you still get that finger curl, you got two fingers that are solidly around it, and so it is a beneficial little design feature of the gun. I find that the gun has got good ergonomics. You know, it's got the same rake as a 1911, which positively puts your sights in line naturally. It's got natural point of aim. The grips are very, very tactile. Aggressively, these grips they're not uncomfortable to shoot. They're very aggressive. That's not you're not going to slip with that grip surface, and yet it's not uncomfortable. It's not abrasive. You know, I think you could shoot that all day long without any issues. But it's very, very, very good grasp, and I know that would grab well with wet hands too. This is not a striker-fired pistol, and the fact that it's not a striker-fired pistol means that it has, I think, one advantage. This has got a concealed hammer inside, a hammer that strikes the firing pin, and I'll show you that. But a striker-fired pistol, when it's cocked, it pulls the firing mechanism, the firing pin, you might call it, the striker. It pulls it most of the way into engagement, and then the finger actually pulls it for the remainder 1/16 to 3/16 of an inch to the rear in order to fire it. And that's why a lot of striker-fired guns have got what I would call a mushy feel, because you're actually pulling that striker back during the trigger pull. With this gun, although there's some travel, it's not increasing in weight because I'm not pulling anything back. All I'm doing is I'm just disengaging the sear. It's a sear to hammer connection, very much like you have on any hammer fire pistol. So we got 1 pound 4.2 ounces, the 13 round magazine, 1 pound 6.8, 10 rounder, 1 6.3. There's only 5/10 of a difference between the 10 and the 13. And 1 pound 7.1 ounces for the. So I would classify this gun as a compact myself. I know that I think Smith & Wesson may use the term micro or something. I'm not sure what they use in their literature, but I would classify this myself as being in line with most of the guns that are called compacts. Well, let's take a tour of the rest of the gun. Very, very aggressive cocking surface. I mean, your hands are not going to slip on that no matter what. And it's also it's got a very, very easy spring. This is designed, I guess it's been designed to assist those who have perhaps arthritic hands, maybe people who don't have the standard muscle strength in order to pull back a standard slide. But I can tell you that it's really nice. Highbrow rear sight, which I guess that might be a difficulty if you're trying to conceal it in clothing. There are snag points there, but this would be a better gun to be holstered. But having that high surface means that it can be grabbed by any surface and cocked. So, if you had to grab it on the side of a table or side of your pants or whatever, you could do that. So let's take it down. It's only got one lever to disengage the slide. We'll lock the slide to the rear. Now you can move. The safety does not impinge on the movement or the cycling or anything about the gun whatsoever. The safety does only one thing. It just basically makes the gun safe. But you can move the slide back with or without that safety being up. Lock it to the rear. Now, if you try to pull it down like this, I find that my thumb will just slide. And rather than trying to grab it with my thumbnail and rip my thumbnail off, it works a lot easier if you turn the gun around so you're pushing in this direction. It's just so much easier that way. That's my finding. And if you find it's something else, I mean, I can grab that, but it's a lot harder for me to grab it and push it down than it is for me to do it in this fashion. So once it's down like that, keep your finger off the grip safety, because you'll see right here, you can see, I hope that comes into view, there's a silver bar. It's a transfer bar that pops up when you engage that grip safety. So you keep your finger off of that grip safety and just simply release the slide, come straight forward and off. We'll continue to dismantle this gun. Remove the mainspring and guide rod. It's all one piece. It doesn't come apart. It's a flat mainspring. It's a coil, but it's actually got a flat steel surface. The barrel removed by just simply lifting the lug straight up and out. And that's all there is to it. Now there's a feature in here, right here. This is a firing pin block. Again, this is a. I'll show this has got a firing pin, and the firing pin floats inside its own channel. But this is a positive firing pin block. When that's not depressed, that firing pin cannot be pushed forward, so it can't accidentally be dropped and fire the gun. That's a really nice. I think that's a really nice feature, and it's actuated by the use of your grip safety. When your grip safety is grabbed, that pushes up on this transfer bar, and that transfer bar will depress that button, and that's how it fires. Also too, now we're going to show you this. This is the hammer right here. It's a spring actuated hammer, and with the safety down and the grip safety on, as I'm pulling back right here, you'll see there's a on this right here there's a sear engagement to the hammer. There's a hammer caulking surface here, and here's the sear. So when you pull the trigger back with the grip safety actuated, it lifts up this bar right here. This is your trigger bow. It lifts up the trigger bow and it places it in position to move the sear. Without having that on there, I can pull that trigger. This is what I say, it disconnects it. I can pull that trigger and it takes that trigger out of function altogether. I have to have that grip safety up in order to place them into connection. And the same thing with the safety. With the safety on, again, even if I have the grip safety on, that trigger bow rides underneath, and it's disconnected from the hammer. But this is the caulking surface right here, the caulking notch of the hammer, and that engages this sear right here. So those two come together. It's a very simple mechanism. These two flat surfaces right here on this rod, those two flat surfaces have to be east and west. They have to be side to side. The round surface is engaged in this crescent shape right here, and it has to be in there, and those two flat surfaces have got to be vertical, straight up and down. If they're turned to the side, the gun's not going to go back together correctly. So let's put it back together. And we'll oil it too. Let's do that while we're at it. Now let me make this absolutely clear, because I've had comments about this before. Why am I contradicting myself? If you're going to be shooting this gun, then you can put a little bit of lubrication on it, and that will, you know, preserve mostly the finish of the gun. These are hardened parts. They're not going to wear because you don't lubricate it. But if you wish to preserve it so that this passivation, it's called passivation, is what they treat this stainless steel with. If you wish to reduce the amount of wear that incurs, then a drop of oil. But if you're just going to be carrying the gun and you're not intending to, you know, your only intent is to shoot it in an emergency, lubrication is not at all necessary. The gun will function without lubrication, and it certainly will function for a long time without any wear whatsoever. So if you're going to be carrying it in cold climates or things like that, I would always recommend to keep a gun dry. If you're in dusty climates, keep it dry. You know, when I say dusty, I'm talking about blowing dust, that sort of thing. And if you are simply carrying it with, you know, nice clothes on, you can keep it dry. You don't have to get your clothes oily and greasy when the oil starts seeping out of places. But I'll show you the oiling points. You have these two slides right here, one drop only, that's it. One drop on these two rear slide surfaces. One there, and also right here where the sear. However, rather than using oil, what I prefer to use is lubriplate. I'll show you that. Lubriplate number 130 AA. This stuff has been around. This is a calcium grease. Calcium, in other words, bones. It has good stick-to-itiveness. It stays in place, and it doesn't drift and doesn't ride away. In other words, it's a stiffened grease. But if you just put a drop of lubriplate on those two surfaces where they engage right there, just a drop, doesn't take much, and take off any excess. That's all there is to it. For lubrication of the rest of the gun, it's just a matter of placing one drop on this surface of the barrel and one drop here. And when I say one drop, I just mean one drop. You can roll that around with your fingers, and right here, and that's all you need. That's going to distribute itself. Place that. You don't. There's nothing to lubricate on the slide because you've already done it when you put it on the rails. Drop the barrel straight in, and that's it. Make sure, again, that you have that. Get rid of this thing here before I have a mess. Make sure that you have this rod with these two surfaces vertical. That's absolutely imperative. You can't be canted on any degree of the clock. Just drop it straight into place into that crescent recess. Look from the rear and make sure that it's not turned sideways, and make sure it's absolutely dead center. That's imperative. Once you get it in place, it'll stay that way forever. If you have any problems whatsoever returning the gun back together or cocking it or anything like that, take it apart and fix that issue, because that's where it is. You shouldn't have to wiggle the gun or do anything untoward to get it together. To put it together is the simplest thing of all. Just make sure that these ways are kept free. Keep your hand off the grip safety. Slide it into place, and now I've got my hand out of the way so you can see what I'm going to do. But once it's all the way back, you can place your hand on the grip safety at that point, and it's not going to be a problem. Lock it into place, and drop your lock. Everything is nice. It feels just so nice. You can operate this safety with the slide back or anything. It means nothing. So there you have it, as they say. I like it. It's a keeper for me. This is going to be my new carry gun. You know, I've got several different guns I carry. Once in a while, I even carry my 1911. But this is a really handy gun. It packs nicely in my holster by my waistband, and with this 13-round magazine, it sits comfortably with a jacket on. I can put that 10-round magazine on with lighter weight clothing, and it's fine. It has extremely nice ergonomics in terms of the way it feels in my hand. It's a narrow grip, side to side, east and west, but it's very hand-filling. I got long fingers. I wear an extra large glove, and yet, you know, I'm not using up that grip because it's broad from front to rear. The fact that it's got a narrow grip means that it's just nicely and tight against my waist when I'm driving. It doesn't feel as if it's bulging. The slide, that 1-inch slide, it fits into my existing holster, so that's nice. It's in all ways, I'd say it fits me to a T. I like the grip surface. It's very, 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 very tight in my hand without chafing or biting in. It's even better than, you know, I love stippling and all that stuff, but this is really like a manufactured stippling. It just feels really, really aggressive, but without hurting. And you know, my hand comes up with that. Those two sights are online without even have to think about it. So it's a good pointing gun, and that owes to the fact that it has that standard 1911 rake of the grip. I like it. Plus the grip safety and the manual safety, and also too, it has the ability to put on an optic. I'm not an optic shooter. I shoot handguns all my life with just standard sights, and but it's perfect for all that. And it has also the accessory rail underneath, the Picatinny rail underneath, if you want to mount any kind of, you know, leaf blowers or anything like that to do that sort of thing. So there you go. Very handy, like it. To all my Patreon donors and supporters, thank you so much. It helps a lot in these times. And if you wish, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And by the way, I just repeat, I hit that 200,000 subscriber mark. I'm very, very happy about that. Income is not that great anymore because people can watch YouTube without actually being in the YouTube channel. So if you happen to find yourself looking at a screen that says YouTube down in the lower right-hand corner, please do me a favor and click the YouTube button, and do that for anybody else that you're watching. Do them a favor, because otherwise they're getting no monetization whatsoever. So help them out. You know, people are bootlegging and able to watch YouTubes all over the place without actually being in the YouTube market. So help us all out. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. God bless.